right, hello 417ers. I am here just to walk through test review worksheet 1 with you so that you feel more prepared for Wednesday's test. And hopefully after today you'll be able to do the test review 2 all on your own. All right, so number 1 is asking a bunch of true-false questions. So let's just talk about the normal distribution curve. All right, so if you look here, if you remember, the mean is equal to the median in a normally distributed graph, in which one standard deviation from the mean will be 68% of our data. If you're within 2 standard deviations, and 95% of our data lies within 2 standard deviations, and 99.7% of our data is within 3 standard deviations. All right. I think most of us kind of remember that, but what we want to make sure we know is that the area underneath our normally distributed curve here, this area is equal to 1. Okay, so you should be able to answer the first question and then check your answers with the key online. Number 2 is a bit trickier. The tricky part is to kind of figure out what it is that they're asking for. So obviously number 2, it says find the probability. So there are 2 things that we use our calculator for, to find the probability and then to help us find our value of x. So in this case, obviously it's asking for probability, so we are going to choose this method here. Okay, the first step in that method is to get the z-score, which you can use that formula to find the z-score. But if I look a little closer at the problem, it tells me that we are negative 0.1 and 2.2 standard deviations away from the mean. That means that what they're giving us is actually the z-score, right? So if I look at this closely, those numbers represent the z-score, so we don't need to use the formula that's given here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump to step 2, which says that we can use our calculator or our chart to find the probability. So if you have an older model calculator, I will try my best to walk you through how to type that in. Or if you don't have a calculator, just grab it from the self-service on your iPad. Okay, it should be there for you. All right, so we're going to use second vars, and when we're trying to find the probability given the z-score, we are going to use number 2 here. And so when you use if you have an older model calculator, you'll type in negative 1,000. And we always want to type in the z-score for our upper. So our upper value here, I'm going to find the probability for each of these separate would be negative 0.1. And do not touch the mean or standard deviation, just hit enter. And so we find that the probability is 0.4602. Okay, let's just round to 4 decimal places. All right, and now if I type in find the next probability here, if you do it correctly, you will find that that probability is 0.9861. Now the question asks, what is the probability that we're going to fall between those standard deviations, which implies we need to then subtract our probabilities to find the probability that we're going to fall between those. So when you subtract, you would get 0.5259. Sorry, my paper's sliding on me. Okay, so that's how you do problems 1 and 2.